So a lot of people have asked for this video. And this video is going to be all about how to detail windows at a residential job. And then we'll also do a video about how to detail windows on commercial jobs. It's just a little bit harder because it's hard to put a GoPro on your head. This is all going to be first person. Very important thing for detailing is steel wool and houses. I put it right in here in my little Sorbo steel wool pouch. There, I have that. This house is pretty dirty, so I'm going to bring a magic eraser for any silicone or any fingerprints just in case I need it. It's kind of rare. I have a bronze wool pad. Could probably use a new one. This will do for today. Use those pretty long. And let's see, I have my putty knife for screens. Alex is doing screens right now. I'm gonna keep one on me just in case. And then while we're doing this video, we're gonna mess around with 3 different styles of 14-inch. Check this out. I totally modified this liquidator to what I think the liquidator should have been, but we'll see if I'm right today. So Bob, here's your abomination of the liquidator. And then we're gonna be using the new Unger Ergotech handle with the new back plate here to easily bring it in and out. This, let me show you the old. This is the old one. This is the new one. So the old one had this back plate. The new one has this back plate. Just a little bit easier to move the channel in and out than this one. So I use that a lot. I like these. They're pretty smooth. I don't particularly like the S Plus channel for my same reasons I kind of like the liquidator channel. We'll grab a little 10-inch just in case we get any smaller ones. And let's get going. So let's see here. I'm gonna go up on the roof. When I usually go up on the roof, I try to take 2 mops. That's why I wear 2 gunslingers. I like the ability to be able to bring 2 mops, especially on houses, or just hold every single tool I possibly own. So, detailing residential windows. So, some people start their detailing process right here. You want to wipe down your frames, which is a good idea, just to get most of the dirt off there. And you want to do this before so that you're not doing it after and possibly putting streaks on the glass. Bronze wool pad. Sometimes you use your finger just to prick off this kind of crap. A little bit of paint there. I think the most important thing with detailing is that you don't go too crazy and that you know when to stop. That's something that you kind of work through over time. I'm learning how to clean windows. Oh, there's Alex. We're going to use our liquidator here. Oh, I have a bad rubber. I'm using an old rubber. I don't think it's very good. It's not. We'll just fold that for today. So I'm going to re-clean that because there's some stuff on there, and that squeegee was leaving trail marks everywhere. Oh, much better. Okay, detailing houses, top, corner, other edge there. Now this is where I always have this big towel on me, and I use this to clean up that little bit at the bottom and then clean that frame there. And usually this big towel will last me a whole job. Now there's a little bit of, I think, silicone right here. So dry steel wool, quad 0 steel wool, use that, and I just buff that out with without re-wetting and redoing the whole window. Thawed glass, I really wouldn't go too crazy on it. It's a perfect 14 window. I just heard something fall over inside, hopefully not. But it's a perfect 14 window, or a perfect window for your channel. There's no reason to not do straight pulls. Okay, so I don't know if you can me try to get a good angle. I don't know if you can see. There's a little mark right there. So your quad steel wool, gone. And it's just dry, and you just keep that dry. 3 windows there done quickly. It's a cool modern home. So you see there's little bug marks here. Sometimes it's just easier. Use your nail than scraping the whole window, because I'm gonna bet that all these windows are tempered. So I'm not gonna be able to really razor anything here. If a window is tempered, your safe bet is to not razor it and just use steel wool. Communicate with the customer. If there is a lot of paint, you're gonna have to razor it softly, but it's best, especially when you're just doing a home for someone who's selling it, not to go willy-nilly on it and start razoring everything. Have that possibility of scratching. So once again, I got spots here. Take a little bit of time to look at the glass, see it, but don't do this thing where you're like going from this angle, that angle, this angle, that angle. You're gonna waste way too much time. The overall product that you're gonna present here is so much better once you learn all these steps down, that you're providing them a top rate service. Basically what this is just like bug marks, sometimes tree sap. There's no tree above us, so I'm gonna call them bug marks. These are bronze wool pad. These bronze wool pads will save you so much time. This one's not very good anymore, but I mean, I've had this one for 2 months. You can really use them up until they're done. That one's digging into the corners a little bit. See, all these bug marks are still here. You're just taking them away. Sometimes there's some glass that when you do this, it actually leaves a scuff mark. So sometimes you find different types of glass react differently to the dry steel wool after cleaning the glass. Sometimes though, it's just good, especially for removing that many. Go over it one more time with your sleeve, and then squeegee the rest off. See, this is why I love this squeegee for residential. It's just the smoothest. It's just non-temperamental. I don't need a perfect amount of soap on the window. There's this like huge misconception, and I'm not gonna dog on the guys that do it. To each their own. You do not want to be using tons and tons of soap and adding like soap to the glass, adding a bunch of soap to your mop. The more soap that you add to the windows, the easier it is for those windows to get dirty. Soap is like a magnet. Even when you think you're removing it all with your squeegee, you are leaving a little bit on there. And the more soap you use, like you see these guys in the UK just using tons and tons of soap to make that liquidator work. It's really not a good practice to get used to. You know, it's gonna make you slower. It's gonna take more time. You're adding a step. You know, they say that they don't put the soap in their buckets, so therefore, you know, it's greater, like whatever. But you're adding more and more steps by having to add that soap to your mop every time. I get it. There's some places where you got to add a little bit of soap, but to make that a normal practice is not good. Not good at all. So, of course, when we have like, I don't know what you would call this as far as this base here, but when detailing here residential windows, especially on stuff like this, you want to wipe this stuff down, get the cobwebs off, wipe that down. You know, I think of windows from they go all the way to the ground with the frame, right? And then we're going to one finger detail. Don't ever do this. Don't bunch and then detail. Your possibilities of leaving a big streak is a lot bigger when doing that. So just one finger. You don't always have to change it every little area, but once your towel starts getting pretty wet, you will. So I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but right here is a bunch of silicone. I use my steel wool to remove some of it, but it's not coming off. So magic eraser, just work that. Little final piece there, all gone. There's a bunch of silicone at the bottom here, but these are all tempered windows, so I'm not going to go willy-nilly on it. And I'm going to leave that there and explain to the customer later that I can't remove all that because I don't want to scratch that bottom of the glass. And with them selling the home, I don't want to take that risk of messing that up for them, even though it's probably a window area that no one would ever see. Still. So my bronze wool pad isn't working very well because it's pretty worn out. Because these windows are so dirty, I'm going to use another pad here. I'm going to leave this guy in here. And basically what I'm going to do with this, so I'm going to unfold it and make kind of a good hand pad. Man, the squeegee does not want to move on these windows. You guys ever get to jobs and sometimes you just feel like you've never squeegeed a window in your life? I'm feeling like that today. These frames are weird. They're dripping. So when you get frames like this, sometimes you have to go over them a couple times. See, that's the funny thing about guys who say the liquidator works on everything. Liquidator would not work on these windows very well. I had to put that other thing away. The abomination. It's the kind of house where you get one window done, you look at it, and you could spend so long at one window. This is what I'm talking about. You have to know when to leave it. It's always okay to use poles at houses, even if the house is dirty. I'm not pulling high windows like that, of course, but the window's kind of right here in front of me and it's pretty dirty, needs a good steel wool, just a little too tall. That's why I always have a detail squeegee. I can just do this to the area that I can't reach. That way I don't have to go grab the step ladder, and I save a little bit of muscle at the same time. This is also great with the bronze wool pad. It's perfectly on there. So a little tip for if you have these big screen doors and you can't take them off, sometimes they can be a lot of trouble taking them off. Just dust it off with a dry towel outside. And you could also use your wet mop if you'd like, if they're bad enough to get them more clean. Usually this will just do the trick. And adding water sometimes can make it a little bit worse, but this will take off the general amount of dust. Like this, it can get pretty tiring during the day. You'll see Superb Window Clean, he does this a lot. Uses a pole for these big windows. Mopping that whole window and having to steel wool by hand can be taxing, so a pole can just make that a little bit less tiring on you. And the one thing about using this kind of steel wool over a bronze wool pad is this rusts pretty fast. So I'm done with the outside. I'm gonna get a new one for the inside. That's why I do love that bronze wool pad so much more than just using steel wool like this. It wears out pretty quick. Cost wise, there's not too much of a difference, but I think for one bronze wool pad, it's pretty much the cost of a whole pack of steel wool, so it's kind of your judgment. Okay, so now we're inside. So when you're inside, of course, the big tip is not to wet your mop like you would outside. Make sure to be very careful of wood floors. Keep your buckets on towels like this if there's no carpet or anything. Just make sure to be safe. And pretty much the inside is the same as the outside. We're just gonna be more careful with wiping down everything. Sometimes you're not always going to be able to catch every drip, but just make sure to be watchful and to look for it. I tell you what hurts is on a stack ladder with socks. That sucks. Usually the insides are more just dusty than anything else. It's kind of rare that you have to use a whole lot of steel wool inside, unless the house is just really dirty. Oh, so much easier than outside. Okay, so we seal that water there. Always have a new dry bath towel for the inside. Get all those cracks. And along the side of the wood as well, you're going to get water on there no matter what. This is why it's good to get a ladder out for the inside of homes and not pull stuff, because you're going to have to wipe all this kind of stuff down. Another tip, can't reach it, towel and squeegee. Very important houses to always, especially on hardwood floors, use some sort of drop cloth. That's why these big towels are nice. So when I squeegee it, they're right up there. Catches all my water, and then boom, just clean it up like that. Something else I do in homes, instead of catching all the water with my mop, what I like to do is when I squeegee the window, use that towel to kind of catch the water off the edge of the squeegee. Not going to catch it all, but it does a good job. All right, basement windows, tips for detailing. Basement windows are usually always the worst. I usually always scrape basement windows, like the frame down. This is gonna have the worst amount of crap on it. Raise that sucker up. It says tons of hard water, that's why you're hearing a lot of noise. Usually basements though just have so much stuff on it. You need a good razoring. You do not need to re-wet the window after every razor. Talk about a waste of freaking time. Just go light, move with the water, and you'll be fine. If you razor every window with re-wetting every little piece, every little stroke, you're gonna be the slowest window cleaner on the planet. It's the truth. Remop. SteveO. Headphones. I like listening to music during work, but man, sometimes these headphones just get in the way, and I don't like the Bluetooth headphones. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose them somewhere. All right, our last window at this job. This job was quite pretty well. Took us about 2.5 hours. Me and Alex. Okay. You don't have to be so crazy with basement windows. Nobody's really gonna come out and look at them this way. Just to be inside out. All my rags are pretty dirty here. Okay. All right, well, that concludes my residential tips on detailing and everything else. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good day.